See this 1965 Chevy pickup? We got a dual master cylinder booster. We got an LS swap 5.7 in there, aluminum radiator. We went ahead and powder coated our inner fenders and such to get the engine bay looking pretty nice. We've got brand new windshield, brand new rubber. We got our upholstery redone, new carpeting, Dakota digital dash. We got a brand new roof, all painted up looking nice, as is the interior. We went ahead and swapped it from a small window to a big window. We chopped the frame. We chopped our bed right here. We got brand new bedwood inside. We got it slammed on airbags, of course, and we've got disc brakes up front. Now, 18 days ago, this was a bone stock, really rusty, rat-infested truck. The rust on the roof was so bad you could literally put your hands right up inside it. The bone stock height, drum brakes, single reservoir master cylinder, you get a leak anywhere in the line and you are dead. It was a long bed, small window, the upholstery was just atrocious. The bedwood was completely missing altogether. It had a big ugly bumper on the back that some people actually like. 3 on the tree, manual transmission, 292, straight 6 engine. We're looking at week 6 on our chop, drop, LS swap. Now we're going to be saving a lot of rust on this because we want to keep that really gritty, low down kind of patina on it. But some of the rust is just beyond the pale. I'm not going to be able to put a windshield in this and have it hold on. So I'm going to have to fix this at least. And it looks like I got rust on the inside too. My pillars are pretty bad. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this entire roof off and then see how much I'm going to be able to save and see what I'm going to have to repair. That's going to be interesting. I've been putting this off for a while because I know this is going to be a tough, ugly job. I didn't even get a full roof because we just couldn't find one. It would have been a lot nicer if I could have just chopped it off here, plopped it right on. I'd be done in no time. But this is going to be a jigsaw puzzle that's a rust nightmare. While I'm working on this here, I've got the guys working on the bed sides. We shortened them down. We took 8 inches out of the back, 12 inches out of the front, and we're getting these all welded up. I got a little bit of video on that for you to see too. Again, we're not doing a full-on instructional video on this. We've got plenty of instructional videos for you guys to see. What we're trying to do with this video series here is show you what happens when you take all of those little videos and you add them all up to a truck. So this week it's all metal work and maybe a little paint and body too. Stay tuned. So I'm going to need to take this roof off in order to see what we got going underneath. Now there's a bunch of spot welds from the factory and you can find them and then drill them all out and then try to take it off, but that's generally a bit difficult. What I like to do is just cut the whole mass of the roof off. I'll try to get down as close as I can to the edge right here, and then I'll just take this and go all the way around. I'll lift the whole entire roof off. Then I'll just be left with a thin strip of metal right here, and a lot of times they're so rusty the spot welds just pop off, or I'll be able to find it easier. At any rate, it'll be easier period if I do it this way rather than take out all the spot welds and then try to rip the roof all off at once. Take your mass off, then work on the small amount of metal that's left.
You don't want to touch it? So we just finished removing the pinch weld on the back end right here, since we're going to be able to take that from our new top and just cleaning all this up, getting prepared for that swap. Try to make it look real nice and pretty. Easy transition, hopefully.
I found an old patch panel that was just laying around. That's why you always save your old patch panels. And this just got just the right curvature right there to match the curvature right here on the back of the cab. Now, of course, I can bend up my own metal and stuff, but I'm lazy and I don't want to. Alright, so what I'm hoping to do with this is to lay the cab roof down on this natural line that came down there. But what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld it right here. I'll be able to slide my cab right into the slot, if you will. So what I'll do is I'll cut this section here out about 2 inches below this. Then I can go ahead and set the new roof onto this seam and go ahead and weld it right there. You can take, you know, like 8 arms or something like that and just cut it in one section and then just weld it up in the one section. But the problem is, if you get that off a little bit, it's going to cause you problems trying to put your windshield back in. So what I'm going to be trying to do is leave a little bit of the old roof and a little bit of the new roof, so that they'll go ahead and join together something like this, and then I won't have any defined lines, and it'll help me line up everything. And I'm doing something similar in the back right here. I'll be taking off all of this kind of stuff right here because our new roof has that on it. So I'll just need to take off the remnants of this, and I'll be able to slide that right where the old one went, and everything will look real original, and it'll be easier to line up. So I started cutting away a little bit of the metal and seeing how bad things were. And that's the way you want to do it. When you're cutting things off, it's a lot of fun. And you see a big chunk of rust, you just want to hack the whole thing off. But you really got to go into it and go piecemeal at it and only cut off the ugly stuff that's necessary. I want to save as much of the original structure as possible so I can keep the integrity of the cab. If I cut too much things off, it's going to get all sloppy and floppy on me if I don't put in reinforcements. So after I cut into it a bit, I got feeling a bit more comfortable. It wasn't as bad as I had thought, and I was able to line up some of the original metal with the old metal that I was putting on, or the new metal, I guess, and everything was lining up pretty nice. So not too bad on this case, really. I was really worried about this because I knew it was going to be an ugly job, but it's coming along okay. I think we're going to be okay. So looking okay. I'm going to cut as much away and got everything prepped up as much as possible with the roof on so that nothing would move on me. But now I'm getting ready to cut the last bit off. So I'm going to put a support in here, and so I'll just find a place to weld it up, and I'll do one on both sides, and then I'm getting ready to cut, man. So we're gonna see. I'm going to cut this right here. I just need to hold the roof over here. put the roof on there. It's not going to fit, but I just want to get a feel for stuff. Dump that out here.
That's not too bad.
So I just kept trimming away slowly until I got all my seams lining up really nice. The last cut I have to do is the overlap of the old roof onto the new roof. And so what I'll do is simply overlap those, and then I'll cut them both at the same time. This way I'll have an exact nice cut all the way down. Now, sometimes I'll trim that a little bit too, because you'll need to. The metal will get a little bit floppy on you, what have you. So I'll start putting in my clamps, and then I can see if I got to trim it anymore, what have you. It's a really long weld, and it's on the inside, so it's going to be difficult to keep it from warping. You really got to take your time. Don't get it too hot, and I don't want to have to do a lot of body work up in there because it's difficult up inside the roof like that. So like I'm always saying, you want to keep your heat down. So what I've done is I get some tack welds going, and then I'll do something else. Like I get the wire wheel out, and I'll still get some of that scaly rust off of there. I'll start shooting some of the rust mortar areas that I'm not going to be doing any welding. And by going back and forth this way, I can keep my heat down, my warping down, and I can stay with my progress and get done a little bit faster. Okay, so what happened in here, when you heat metal, it shrinks. So what you have to do is you have to hammer on the dolly. That'll expand the metal. So we heated it up, it shrank. Now we find each individual little weld right here, and we hammer on the dolly.
How much overlap you got? I got about 1/8 of an inch.
Overlap, gotta cut this one.
Is it?
Yeah. That's pretty reasonable.
What you doing, Dave?
Just getting our rain gutter on here. We got these brand new. They're pretty inexpensive. The old ones are just trashed.
How's your back?
Oh man, it feels like it's suing me for custody of hell. Like an old dog's using it to chew on. It feels like the rockets are dancing on my back. It really hurts, man. Ow, ow, ow. Now I can't remember anything funny. So we did have a little bit of fun doing this, but this is about 12, 13 days in. Tensions did get high. We did bark at each other a couple of times, that's for sure. So you got to keep your spirits high when you're doing something like this and a time crunch and all that jazz. The roof's looking all pretty good. I'm just about ready to put it on, the final roof, but I want to put the big window in. Now I've got a video on this for you, so you just subscribe and watch that one. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail on this, but I will say this. It's a lot easier to install that big window before you put the roof on, because you can get to that one seam. So if you have a choice, put the big window on before you put the roof so you can get to that seam. All right, so we're taking out the inside small window piece right here, okay? So what we're going to need to do is cut this along the edge right here, all the way down, and then we need to drill out all of these with 1/8-inch pilots first. Then we drill out with the spot weld cutter, and then on the inside in here. So you'll want to cut this, just on the edge like this right here.
We already have.
And then to here. And then I'll cut out this piece here, and then the whole kit and caboodle will come out.
Oh, okay, so do you have a whole piece that goes in there?
Yeah.
Or? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so if you,
Same thing, there's spot weld on the inside here then?
yeah, but first you want to cut the mass off so that it's easier to take off the remnants. When you're getting this guy here, what you want to do is you want to cut at the bottom first and bring it up to the sides. Stop in the middle and give yourself like 2 or 3 inches in the middle here, then cut the other side. If you cut the top first, it's all going to fall in. So you have to leave this right here as a leash to keep everything controlled, and then after you get the sides cut, you can cut that last bit. When you do, it'll fall in.
Right here looks like a better, it's closer to the matching.
Yeah, I just got to start down here as well.
Oh, it's should he make ship hooks? Jeez. Good times. Little tight. That's a lot easier than just cutting the middle off.
All right, the guys put this patch panel in a couple of times. You got to get it trimmed, a little bit of this, that, and the other. And now I'm just going to go ahead and weld it all up. So, I keep forgetting that. Usually, I keep going. Let's say, for instance, you put the hood on, right? And it gets bunched up like this. I'm exaggerating, of course. But if you were to start welding on your ends and then work your way towards the metal and it was bowed up like this, then you'd be stuck. You wouldn't be able to get the bow to go down. So what you need to do is you get it flat and even in the back, and then you go ahead and work your way out. So I'll do the back this way, and I'll do the front that way, and then I can go ahead and finish these off on the ends. And normally I have more clamps on here, but it seems like they're disappearing on me. Roof's basically done, so next I'm going to work on the floor and the rockers. See all these welds here? I want to leave as much green as possible. So, oddly enough, we're going to leave this little rust spot out here. But I need to take care of this section here, or we don't have anything to hold onto the door seal. So all I'm going to be doing is just a section right here and wrapping it around there, and that's it. I want to beat that A-pillar roof just a little bit at least. And then I'll take care of these small things in the floor, but that's about it. You have a job? Shouldn't you be someplace? Shouldn't you be doing something? Go to work. Floor's done, rockers are done. Now, not a lot of instruction in this video, but I've got a ton of videos showing you how to do cab corners, floors, rockers, and everything like that on multiple years. Subscribe and check that out. Now, earlier I told you that I'd already cut down the bed sides, and so I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek on what we did on those. Also, we have videos on those. Also, we have them for the 67 to 72 long beds to short bed conversions. We've got the 73 to 87 square body short bed, long bed to short bed conversions. Point is, subscribe and you can see all those different things. All right, now what we got going on right here is I want my seam to be nice and neat. We're going to be using this as a badge of honor, so to speak. We want people to see the repair and how nice it looks. If by putting the tape down, it keeps me from going out of bounds, as it were, and it also keeps any of the welding, slag, and anything when I'm grinding from damaging my paint. We want to keep this patina, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. We're going to make it as nice and neat as possible. Then I'll get some flat or satin clear coat, and I'll shoot it on there so I don't have to worry about this rusting out. So little things like this really make the difference. Now really, you don't want to mix body work and metal work. Dirty work and clean work don't go together, of course, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, so that's what we're doing.
Well, it's about 9 o'clock at night on Thursday, and Simon's the last man standing today. He's going to mix up a little body filler here, patch in a few spots so we can shape it in the morning. But that's what the last man standing looks like.
Not as good as it looked this morning, I tell you that much.
Got going here, Simon?
Just cleaning up a little mess. Got extra scrap metal, extra weld, and who knows what from about 45 years ago before I was born still in here. Go ahead and scrape as much as we can out, because next thing we're going to get ready to paint. We'll wipe it down best we can. But first things first.
The name of the game on jitterbugging is called overlap. So I'll go here, I'll only come over a little bit and I'll overlap. Also, you're seeing me sand up here, so when I'm overlapping, I'll be overlapping this too. So I'm gonna be coming up over the edge. So it's all about the overlap. So I'm just gonna be getting a little bit of rubberized undercoating, and I'll be shooting my areas where I've done my welding first, and any problem areas I have, then I'll get my nooks and crannies. Then I'll go ahead and I'll hit my mask. If you just go ahead and hit your mask like this, you're gonna miss your nooks and crannies, trust me. So nooks and crannies, problem areas first, then your mask. Probably wear a mask too.
All right, Edgar, bring me up to speed here.
I'm eating a pizza. We just finished waxing, greasing cabs. She's ready to paint. These doors, I believe, are ready to paint. Dave's taking a break. Simon's prepared. Got everything set up at our mobile paint booth over there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, goal right now is get them all painted. Seems like it's all prepped. So we gotta move it on over, set it all up, and then
Tape it all off.
oh yeah, tape it all off. Sure.
Paint it. Set it and forget it. On to the next one.
All we're going to do is clean this off really good with some wax and grease cleaner, and at the same time we'll be using a scratch pad. This way we'll get it sanded a little bit for the paint and get it cleaned at the same time. The bumpers aren't that dirty. We'll just wax and grease these, and then I'm going to sand these down with some 320 to get rid of some of this orange peel here and get us a little bit nicer looking bumper.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, man? It's fisheye eliminator. So if you get oil or water in your airline, you're going to get fish eyes. If you got grease or anything on your product, whatever you're going to paint, you're going to get fish eyes. So fish eye eliminator helps keep that down to a minimum. But of course, you have to make sure your airline is clean. You have to make sure your surface is clean, or you're going to get problems anyway.
Process. Gotta clean and then clean and then clean again.
So I think what we're going to do, we got just a smidge of this paint left. So I think we're going to be okay with what we got left in there. We're going to give it 10-15. Then we're going to go ahead and one last coat on there. White's all painted. It's looking pretty good, especially for a rat rod. Now what we're going to be doing is go ahead and masking off the inside. We'll go ahead and get a little bit of this overspray that we've got on here still, and then we'll get painting. So stick around and I'll hopefully give you a couple of helpful handy hints on how to shoot this stuff and mask it off and things like that. Now we've already cleaned these doors a couple of times with degreaser and such, but we're going to have to get some wax and grease remover on there and kind of sand down the doors the same time we're cleaning them. So what we're going to be doing is spraying our wax and grease not only on our door, but also on our rag right here on our scratch pad. And this way we'll be able to get the last thorough cleaning, and the scratch pad is going to go ahead and put scratches in this at the same time so that our paint will adhere. Always remember, no scratching, no stick. Now, a quick way to mask off our door is to just simply put tape on the back edge of it, put plastic right on top of it, and then just cut off the extra plastic. Now, you can't always use this trick. One thing you got to remember about plastic that I think I told you on one of the other shoots is that the paint will stick onto the plastic, okay? And then what it'll do is it'll dry and it'll flake off. And then it'll pop into the air and it'll land on your project. So you can't always do this, only in areas where the plastic paint drying won't flake off and land on your stuff. Like this, go for the farthest edge first and work your way closer. If you shot your edge here and then you came in, then you might drop something on it or you might run your hose on it. Plus your back, you want to save your back, so you always extend your back and then bring it back. You never go and then extend your back out. Okay, we got our body work, our metal work, our paint, and everything done. We got our big back window in here. And I gotta say, this isn't normally the way I do stuff. Of course, we're gonna sandblast it, we're gonna prime it, we're gonna block sand it multiple times. But with the amount of time we have, this really looks good. The top was brand new, so we didn't have to do anything there really. The back panel here is brand new, didn't really have to do anything. And even though the colors didn't match, this was the old gold. It had some white on the top, the back was black. All the colors just kind of blended in, even though I didn't use a sealer coat. Now you can see we got our bed strips done too, and we went ahead and assembled our bed. So next week, what we're going to be doing is taking all of this stuff and putting it on the frame. So you're going to be wanting to see how can you put your cab on without breaking your back. What you want to do before you put in your glass in your doors, and miscellaneous other helpful handy hints. So you make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You check us out on Instagram and Facebook, because they're cool too, man, you know. And subscribe, because that's what they measure my, I don't know, ego by or something. I'm not sure what it is these days.